Hello world. Today I'm going to be making another reaction video to the never-ending shit show, the absolute dumpster fire that is the content created by heavyweights light feels, and I might be inclined to be a little more empathetic uh about the content that he is posting, especially when his last two videos, where are the virtuous men, question mark, and I am wasting my life and I don't know what to do, are videos that I would actually like to maybe have some healthy discussion about. But unfortunately, the majority of the content I think is represented by the video that I'm going to react to. I will post a link to this video that, once again, I think is just more representative as a whole of what you're creating. So I decided to react to this one that is called, if I can bring it up here. Dear Leftists, compliance enables tyranny, and I will post a link to this video in the description, as well as the articles that I hope to include in my reaction.
What's good? What's good? I don't know what I'm going to title this video yet. I'm just going to start rambling and kind of see what happens. But essentially, I want to make the case for why people who are left leaning and left identifying should not comply with potential future mask and or jab mandates.
Yeah, so the use of the word jab is obviously, I don't know, at least problematic. This is a conversation that I want us to have, but probably will never happen. But anyways, when it comes to like jab mandates and mask mandates, as far as I know, um, it's like a thing of the past. And in my research, I found that like I think one obscure university in like the state of Georgia may implement a mask mandate sometime in the near future. So yeah, um, I don't see them on a mass level anywhere in the future, as far as I know.
And the premise of my argument is just that it creates a precedent for the government to continue controlling how we want to live our lives. It's medical fascism.
Yeah, so I guess to once again steelman the argument here is what he's saying is that government control equals medical fascism. And we definitely already talked about his at best loose understanding of fascism, and then to tag the word like medical onto it is obviously just gonna convolute it even more.
You know, our tax dollars are being forcefully taken from us to fund the research and development of this drug that a private company created, and then the private company gets to keep all of the profits from the mandates of the product.
Yeah, so this is just like a straight up conspiracy theory, because what he's saying is that our tax dollars paid for the R&D of the COVID vaccine, and then companies like Moderna and Pfizer uh benefit or profited off of the mandates. And yeah, this really is like a conspiracy theory that I would like to see literally any proof for.
So it's just wild. Like that's quite literally fascism. You know, the government and the corporations working hand in hand to, you know, for the greater good of the country.
So that once again is his conception of fascism is when the government, it doesn't work with businesses, no, not business, a specific type of business. When the government and corporations work together, that is fascism. And that's really, I mean, maybe like one small tenet of fascism, but fascism is a very nuanced topic. And to say, or to oversimplify it in the way that he's doing is just not a thorough definition or thorough explanation of what fascism really is.
But the moral of the story is the more you comply, the more the government will feel it's okay and attempt to control and oppress you. And let me just give some examples. I wanted to touch on some examples. You know, for example, there are now states where you can no longer murder your unborn baby, or they're making it harder to do so. Oh, I'm sorry. We can call it an abortion.
So it's clear and obvious hyperbole here. So to continue in that fashion, I will just say that, yeah, obviously, we love murdering unborn babies. That is what the left does. We love to murder unborn babies.
But that's what you're doing. You're murdering an unborn baby. And this is where I lose people left and right because, and I believe this is a Thomas Sowell quote, but to be for liberty, you must accept things that are going to happen that you disagree with.
Yeah, so what he's talking about actually predates Thomas Sowell like a lot, and I think there's obvious reasons why he brought up Thomas Sowell, but really the idea that like you're gonna have to in a civil society accept the idea that opposition is out there. And really this goes back to originally these like social contract theory of like Hobbes, Locke, and those guys, where it's like basically you're gonna have to sacrifice some freedoms in order for civil society to prosper. This is the social contract theory he's talking about, but for some reason he wants to attribute it to Thomas Sowell.
So I think abortion is murder. However, that is a huge, to me as an anarchist, gray area in that what happens between a doctor and a woman and all of that, like it's a huge gray area, you know. There are some anarchists that think abortion should be like they think it violates the non-aggression principle, and although I do, the whole accountability and personability, there's just a lot to it that I pretty much say we can't make it illegal, but we can still say it's wrong. But anyways, the government is more emboldened to get in the way of you murdering your unborn baby because you're complying with all of their bullshit, because you continue to comply. What's another example? Oh yeah, you guys want to like show pornography to kids in public schools? Like Florida, Ron DeSantis banning books. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did a little bit of research about Ron DeSantis banning books in Florida, and so the article that I have is from pen.org, and the claim made by Ron DeSantis is books are being removed from Florida classrooms and libraries because they are, quote, pornographic, violent, or inappropriate. Books that have been banned in Florida: the biographies of Hank Aaron and Roberto Clemente, some MLB professional baseball players. So in addition to those books being banned, you also have Forever by Judy Blume, Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye, and The Handmaid's Tale. So the idea of banning these books also goes into the idea that the ban list also includes dozens of books that include LGBTQ plus themes, protagonists of color, or that touch on race or racism. So these are the, supposed alleged pornographic books, publications that are being shown in public schools, and there's just nothing pornographic about these books. Literally, Toni Morrison's, yeah, uh, Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye, like calling that pornographic is just like it's ridiculous. So these are the books that are being banned because apparently child pornography or pornography is being shown in public schools.
Yeah, the government is the mechanism that prevents you guys from showing that pornography to kids. And as an anarchist, there shouldn't be public schools for one. And for two, like, yeah, no, you shouldn't be showing kids pornography.
Yeah, we're not showing pornography to kids in public schools.
And then also, okay, let's just keep going. In Texas, I think, and in other states, they're banning drag queen story hours,
So when it comes to the Texas ban on drag queen story hour, I brought up another article from pbs.org, and it is titled Drag Artists and LGBTQ plus advocates sue to block Texas law expanding ban on sexual performances. And just to get into it, a group of drag performers and LGBTQ plus rights advocates have filed a federal lawsuit seeking to block a new Texas law that expands what is considered an illegal public performance of sexual conduct. So drag queen story hours are not sexual conduct. Like, that is simply all it is. Yes, it's absolutely a public performance, and it is gendered a certain way. But when you ask these people, like, oh, what if it was like a Barbara Streisand impersonator? Yeah, they probably wouldn't care. But when that drag queen reading a book is like impersonating Carrie Perry, now it's a problem. And that is sort of the issue here. Is it's very selective when these people are talking about how, I accept everyone and everything all the time, except when I don't like it.
because the government doesn't think you should be sexualizing children.
And yeah, the sexualizing children thing is something I really only see from the right, because on the left we're like, yes, education is absolutely something that we sexual and gender education, specifically something that the left might advocate for, but you don't see the left advocating for like the lowering of the age of consent, whereas people like Matt Walsh, a prominent voice on the right, has advocated for the lowering of the age of consent. And it's that, in my opinion, is sexualizing children way more than having seventh graders take a sex ed class.
I kind of agree with them on that. Not the government, but the people. Like, yeah, that's a whole thing. That's a whole thing. But again, because you complied with the mask mandates, they're going to continue to grow their power, and they're going to continue to increase the level of oppression that they are exerting on us. So while I disagree with you on these subjects, I, on a deeper level, believe that it's kind of none of my business in a lot of ways. I'm going to raise my kids how I want to raise my kids. You can raise your kids how you want to raise your kids. You know, just like, don't fucking hurt my kid and we'll be good. Like, just.
Yeah, so this, he's talking about kids now, like he'll ever have them. And you know, he might be a good father or whatever if that ever happens. But to be totally honest, I don't see him ever having kids. And so, like, it really is like, so you're worried about other people's kids, which is noble, but like that is an actual question, because you're talking, you said don't hurt my kid, and it's like, well, you don't have any kids.
Just don't violate the non-aggression principle. It's not that, I mean, it is hard, but, and there are gray areas, but ultimately the point of this video was to discuss the mechanism that enables totalitarianism, or one of the mechanisms, which is compliance. Compliance enables totalitarianism. The last 3 years have proven that, and there is existing literature, i.e., The Great Reset, and then I think he even wrote another book showing that that is their future intent, is to continue to consolidate power and resources.
Yeah, so we were supposed to have a whole conversation about the Great Reset. Me and Heavyweights Light Feels, I actually read like that entire goddamn book in preparation for the conversation that we were supposed to have about it. And I don't think he actually read the book, because like, you basically have to be a conspiracy theorist to think that it is basically a plan to consolidate power and resources. Like, the Great Reset is so much more than that. And please Google it, like look it up, read the book yourself, and make your own judgment on it. But once again, he's just like engaging in a like massive oversimplification here when he's talking about the Great Reset.
And the more you comply, the easier you make it for them. And so while we may disagree fundamentally on some things, maybe we should like start agreeing on the fact that our government is way too big, way too powerful, way too malevolent. Can we maybe start there? Like, let's just put aside the disagreements we have on other issues, and let's just start here. The government is too big. The government is too powerful. The government is too corrupt. Can we start there? Let's start there. Thank you. Much love, y'all.
Yeah, so it would be nice to make the government smaller, or like to reduce government, but it just doesn't happen. There isn't really a dominant political party within our duopoly, where one makes the government smaller and the other doesn't. Republicans, they might act like they're for smaller government, and preach to their like conservative base, on those lines. uh I won't sit here and say that like Democrats advocate for smaller government with like universal health care and things like that, but really when it comes down to it, there isn't like a small government party. Like, unfortunately, the uh Democrats as well as the Republicans are very fervent government expansionists. So that unfortunately appears to be the case. And this will probably not be the last reaction that I do to Andrew. So please stay tuned for further engagements. I truly hope that we can have a conversation in the future. And I really actually hope that you will have a conversation with Cody, the other brothers Blue, because you guys would absolutely have a better conversation than me and you. Uh, and I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but he is less confrontational, and just generally less abrasive. He's more enjoyable to talk to. So I hope at some point you can have a conversation with either one of us. And as always, world, remember that knowledge is power.